even if you could talk to a cat, they wouldn't talk to you.
Yeah.
You know,
Welcome to Perfusion Rockstars, episode 6. Today is August 13th, 2020. We're here with Perfusion Rockstar, Dr. Tony Shackelford. Thank you for being here, Tony.
all right, thank you for having me. That was an honor. It really is.
Well, we really appreciate it.
I'm Todd Clark.
I'm Adam
This
Clark.
is Adam Clark. And yeah, we are the Perfusion Life team. Sorry.
And Perfusion Rockstar team.
Oh, and Perfusion Rockstar team.
And Sam, the editor in the background. Couldn't do without him.
Sam the man.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
For those of you out there, please like, comment, and subscribe. Really appreciate your viewing and you being there for us. Thank you very much. So this process, we're going to talk a little bit about Tony's experience. Can I call you Tony? Dr.
Yes, please. That's it.
Okay. So we're going to start a little bit talking about your professional experience. Most people I say, can you please send me a CV or a resume? Tony sent me a 14-page CV. He took it very seriously. He's a very academic perfusionist. And then I had a 2-page resume, which I'll probably go off of, and then we can kind of go from there. But thank you for being so detailed there. And then we'll go into some professional topics about perfusion, some questions, and then maybe some more personal things. And then we'll finish with a lightning round.
Oh, yeah.
Entertaining at the end and talking about that for us. So, so the first thing I just want to give a quick, somewhat quick overview about Tony's perfusion background and career. It spans over 28 years. He's currently the chief perfusionist at the Medical University of South Carolina, and he's been doing that since 2013. He received his doctorate in health administration in 2009. His core interests and strengths are in strategic planning and operations management, as well as operating room design, specifically cardiac operating rooms, quality assurance and improvement. And one of Tony's passions is patient safety via human factor analysis. Prior to 2013, he was an assistant professor for 11 years at MUSC Perfusion School, where he taught didactically and clinically and conducted research during that time. He also was the president of Faculty Assembly in 2011, 2012. And for 3 years, he taught adjunct assistant professor as an adjunct assistant professor at the College Health Professions. And he taught foundations in leadership for doctor and health administration courses, title being Interprofessional Studies Program. We're in the Interprofessional Studies Program. So quite an academic and professional career. His clinical specialties: adult cardiac perfusion, ventricular assist, ECMO. He pioneered some work on staffing models for ECMO, so that's always challenging to staff. Yeah. Also liver transplantations, and then professionally health administration, leadership and management, strategic planning, quality assurance and improvement, as well as strategic operations are some of Tony's passions. His education: he has a bachelor's degree in extracorporeal technology. He graduated in 1991 from The Ohio State. And
it wasn't a "the" back then. They just added it that year.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just say The Ohio State University. Okay. He received his master's degree in health administration in 2006, finance and quality at MUSC, Medical University of South Carolina. And then recently got his doctorate, where he graduated in 2009 from MUSC as well, in healthcare administration and management. His perfusion experience, as we mentioned, he's currently the chief perfusionist at MUSC. Prior to that, he held some different staff positions in Pennsylvania, Charleston, South Carolina. I found it interesting in Wheeling, West Virginia, where you actually started a new heart program in 1994. You were there through 1997, where you were responsible for the design, the development, and then management of the program itself. So that was obviously a great experience for you, I'm sure. So with that said, we're going to start with some questions about perfusion and kind of get to know a little bit about you and sort of what makes you tick.
Yeah.
All right. So I think a good question to start on is kind of one that most people wonder with the profession of smalls perfusion. Can you tell us about the moment when you decided to become a perfusionist?
Yeah, I think most people kind of, I think most people probably have that they can remember. And now you got to remember, this is back in the day in the 80s. So we didn't have the internet and we didn't have those types of things. And so when I was interested looking at different allied medical professions, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, said, "Hey, here, look at this." And it was a sheet that one of the perfusionists, John Jacober from Riverside Methodist in Columbus, he gave her a photocopy of a on the back of Perfusion magazine back then. It had all the schools listed, and it had a little brief description of what perfusion was. And in the far left, there was this little dotted picture. It wasn't even, it was like more of a cartoon, and it was small. I mean, just up in the upper left-hand corner, and it showed like the perfusionist reaching at the pump. And it was, but that instant, I literally am telling you, my brain, I went right into that picture, and that was it. That really was it really was amazing. It was like I saw myself there immediately, and that was it.
Great picture. Captured
Yeah.
perfusion.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but again, we didn't have the internet and that type of stuff. It was that's
Right.
how it went. Right.
Interesting. So you mentioned John. Has anyone else been influential in your professional, personal career, and why?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have to, I have to say, kind of personally first. And I don't say this cliche wise. I mean, it's God, and I know my work is a reflection of His blessings to me. In that, insofar that how I even got to where I am, was meeting people, and there was he's the arch abbot now at St. Vincent College in Latrobe, PA, but he was my pastor at the time, and he kind of directed me. I grew up in the inner city of Pittsburgh. Wasn't really a good environment. Um, he directed me to kind of step out and stretch, and instead of staying local. And I knew I wanted to go to college, but he said you probably should maybe go look externally. I get it now. At the time, it was kind of interesting, but he also gave me a lot of direction along the way. I don't want to say he helped me. I know people think that. I think it just, he kept showing me the doors to go through, and that was really, I think that was really a neat experience. And so he was very influential. When we get to the perfusion world, there's so many people all the way, and and then I say you, Adam, too. It's just, you all have helped mold me, and I still feel I'm a work in progress. But the from the beginning, it goes back to Ohio State. It goes back to Phil Beckley. It goes back to, well, of course, the philosophy and culture, Jim Deering. It goes back to Rich Davis, who was also there, Richard Tallman, who was there. They were all my instructors and professors, and it was kind of how they molded your philosophy of how to approach perfusion, and that really, I find myself still going back to, those types of things, like how would you approach, what would you do, how would you solve this problem, when you're evaluating something, everything, I'm not saying other schools, but I just know Ohio State and of course MUSC, because of Jim Deering's legacy there too, was, everything's an advantage, disadvantage, pros and cons. And one of the phrases that I've adapted over time has been, you got to be smarter than the tool you're using. And that's really something that's kind of comes from that approach. But anyway, I could go on more. I'm sure
that's
come up.
Great.
That was a good answer. I like that you
Thank
dove
you.
into both professional and personal.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what is a perfusionist? What does being a perfusionist mean to you?
Um, well, it's definitely um, a very cool job, and but it's at the core, it's just helping someone do. I feel I have a set of skills. That's why there's not a lot of people that do this job, and to me, I think that's probably the best um, way to put it is that being a perfusionist allows me to take my skills and apply them in an area that not everybody can do, but it works for me. And in all true respect of everybody out there that does any type of job, I look at other things and I just I can't see myself doing that. I mean, there's just certain things I just over and over and over again, and I just find myself as I am so glad I found perfusion. I really am.
It's hard to find, but for the
Yeah.
4,000 or so that are out there, it's
Yeah. I mean, respectfully for what everybody does. You guys know me a little bit about all that type of stuff. It's just that I like making pizzas. I probably could make pizzas. I probably could do that. I did that for many years.
I'll eat them. You make them, I'll eat them.
That's right. That's right.
That's great. So it sounds like that's your personal superpowers, but what are your perfusion superpowers?
It's problem solving. It's working through logistics of challenges. This is something I think the doctorate program really did for me, was trying to know when to step back and look at things at the 50,000 foot level versus sometimes knowing when to look at it at the micro level, and really knowing the difference is even another part of that. But that's problem solving, I think, is finding a way through the maze of different challenges. That's really, I think, on that. And now as a manager, but even behind the pump, it's the same thing. Using all your senses, all your skills for whatever which is part of the reason why I like the job, is every day it's a different problem, and you're trying to take the science and turn it into an art. And if you do that, the patient wins.
Well, that's a great lead into the next question.
Yeah, that is a very good lead. So I'm sure there are plenty of examples, but if you can think of something that kind of sticks out to you, can you tell us about a time things went south in the OR and you fixed the situation? Or how you fixed the situation?
Yeah. Well, I guess some of the more crazy one that comes out was, and this goes back to my training, is we had just started the heart program, and they were still, at that program, they actually built the OR. I mean, it wasn't that we just took an OR and we made it into doing hearts. They built it. Well, it extended out over the dock, and this was near the fall up north. Winters are come a little sooner, and we had come off bypass, and just as we came off, the read alarm on the blender went off. And I originally thought, there's something wrong with the blender, because it was new, everything was new. This was only probably 2 weeks into the program. And then, of course, the patient needed to go back on pump at that time. Hindsight being 2020, years later, yeah, sure, I got a tank on the pump. Did I have one back then? No. In the back of my mind at that moment, I remembered in school Phil Beckley telling us that anesthesia has a tank right on the back of their cart, which was the way we were aligned there. It was right there, so I put a piece of suction tubing right on the tank, popped it onto the oxygenator, and we went back on. So what happened was, apparently the morning was very cold, and it froze the gas lines to the entire OR, because the insulation wasn't blown up into the OR yet, and or it was exposed in the wind or something froze those gas lines, and it went all the way to the unit as well. And so that was a pretty tense moment. It go, especially with a new program, you're kind of, not that you wouldn't any other time, but you're really looking at it like, I can't believe this is happening. But since then, there's a tank everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That alarm's great. If you asked me that question, I'd probably say the same thing about losing gas and the alarm going off and how I handled it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's nice that alarm's there on the blenders.
Yeah, and
for us.
it was pretty. The fact we had to go back on was the issue. I'm like, oh great, at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well. So, what is the best part about your career in perfusion? Your particular position?
Well, this is I try to explain this to people. The education as an educator in the school for those 11 years, for those who don't know, we clinically practice as well. We were still doing every one of us. There was nine of us at one point, and we were all doing 110, 130 cases a year, taking call, heart transplants, liver transplants, lung transplants, ECMOs. Weren't sitting ECMO, but we were responsible for initiation and termination. So all those things, that part is definitely rewarding, but being able to teach, I felt that I was even reaching more patients, and I know it's teaching making a perfusionist in school is more than one person's job, and like you're talking, it's years upon years upon years. But I feel that's very rewarding. Even now when they're clinically teaching, I'm able to do that, and knowing that I'm going to help people, because occasionally I get some calls from people that said, oh, I remember you told me about this, kind of like the same way Phil Beckley told me about the gas tank and stuff like that. So but even now today, as a leader, I feel my job is to clear the path for my team and give them the tools, their environment, hopefully good work schedules. That's really what I see my roles, even in the pediatric world. I did peds for about 1.5 years at one job, but I really now feel that, me getting them the right equipment and me, whatever it may be, getting, like I said, good schedules, solving problems for them while they can continue to focus on what they do. I feel like that's very rewarding, because I feel like I'm helping so many patients at that point. Yeah. And then hopefully, looking to develop the staff over time. If they have some personal aspirations, I want to be able to help. And I enjoy being a mentor when people call me and ask me stuff, like even Courtney, would ask me occasionally different things. Whether she took my advice or not, I don't know, but I feel that I'm helping. Anyway.
Yeah.
I apologize.
All right.
We're rambling.
That's great.
No, that's great. So now we're going to go into a little more of a personal section. We kind of want to get to,
right.
We've heard about you in the OR,
yeah,
kind of in the hospital. Now we want to see, what do you really like? What are you into? So the first question, do you have any personal hobbies that you're doing right now?
Well, this year, some of that's on hold, as Adam, and I'm a crazy Steeler fan.
I see your terrible towel behind you.
Yeah, that's my, yes, it gets it's bad. You don't want to see what else is
terrible. It's very terrible.
Yeah, very terrible. Yeah. It's, the mug, it's really a pathology. The other part that
we did pretty well. I mean, we've been talking for 15, 20 minutes the first time it's come up. So
it's helping me. That's why, because it's just in my brain. I feel good just like it's there. I have a problem with black and yellow or black and gold things. I mean, I even bought a Right Guard deodorant one day in the store because it was black and yellow. I can't help it. It's really bad. My lawnmower, I bought it because it was black and yellow. It's really pretty bad. My golf cart is black and yellow. So that's the one. But on that same note, I really enjoy taking care of my yard and my lawn. I kind of feel like I'm not into landscaping per se in terms of flowers and all that different stuff. I'm just talking about manicuring the lawn. And I kind of feel like dirt is like the furthest thing from an operating room, and so it allows me to be outside enough, and so I really enjoy the green striped yards that are edged well, and that type of thing. I don't know what that is, but I guess maybe growing up in the city and never having a yard, this is something that I really enjoy. So that's really my two things. I mean, I teeter with well, I used to mess around with cars, but now I got enough money that I can afford a car that works all the time. So I got to say that. But I used to do all that stuff with cars, transmissions, and all that stuff. And I played a lot of basketball. I'd like to get back to more of that a little bit, but I still try to lift weights and do those types of things. I guess my other personal challenge right now, just as a weird thing, is I've been doing intermittent fasting, and I really enjoy it. It's really been working well. I mean, it's surprising. So I go about 16 hours of not eating, and then 8, and actually I don't even eat that much. Sometimes I'm going 20 hours, and so I've been about 15 pounds down, and it's just it's easy. It's really easy. Yeah. So Perfusion kind of makes you not have good eating schedules anyway. So this is great.
Yeah, well, congratulations. I always found when I worked in the operating room, you're always trying to eat because you don't know when you're going to get your next meal.
Yeah.
Then you find out you can get your next meal. So then you're eating all the time, right?
Yeah.
But that's great. So Tony, this is Perfusion Rockstars. What kind of music do you like? Bands, genre? What do you got?
Well, I'm still stuck in the 80s, of course, for a lot of things. Of all of them is Rush. If you ever listen, I'm sure you listened to the group Rush.
I saw him in concert.
Yes, yeah, and it's part of if you really listen to their music, it's complicated, and
three people,
right, yeah. And so they've always, of course, the drummer who just passed away, Pert, is just amazing, but the lyrics in the songs that are really, if you listen to those, they're just, that's what songs do, is kind of apply to the real world. If you listen to the song Trees, and that talks a lot about how we're doing today, but it's a continual struggle with what man has to do, women today, and in the past. So but I mean I like like I said, all the 80s. I just can't I can't say that there's not, the 80s, everybody was blowing up MTV when it really actually showed videos, and that was a big thing for when the next video came out. But I listen to that. I listen to new stuff too as well. I try to do the rap, but I can't understand a lot of it today. But I mean, I listen to it. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I can't. I don't know what the abbreviations and the words mean anymore. That's the problem. So I can't understand the word. I can't understand what their message are trying to get across. So. But it's okay. That's part, I guess, of getting old,
Right. You can email or text Todd. He'll probably help you.
Right. Okay. I'll start doing that.
I'm not noticing anymore either. It's starting to get harder for me.
I try. I ask my staff, what's going on here, and they're working on keeping me educated.
Well, that's good. Continuing education is very important.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So, someone. Maybe they see this interview and they say, hey, I want to write a book about you. What would the title of your biography be?
Well, there's two.
Okay.
One would be Live Without a Net. What I've done is me. I mean, if I needed $300 to fix my car, it came from me. My background, I was orphaned, and that eventually got taken by my grandparents down the road. But the other one, and again, I say this for inspiration for people, but although it was painful at the time, was one person made a comment about, what do you expect from a garbage can? And they were referring to where I lived and my socioeconomic status.
Yeah.
And that really was painful at the time, because I think that's where the total judgment of someone for for no reason and had no idea what I was capable of. But
They said that about you?
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And in the area, the Pittsburgh that I came from, and that. So, but that's people. There's people out there like that. And it didn't matter. I kept moving forward and doing what I do. And like I said, I ran into a lot. I will say this: there's a lot more good, nice, great people out there than there are people that aren't. And I think you have to always remember that. And that's what happened to me is the more I did, the more people reached out and helped. So those two are, but Live Without a Net, yeah, that's always motivated me because I couldn't make it. Even today, I'm still that way. I don't have any resources other than my own.
I like it. Well,
That's
now you
wonderful,
got a 14-page CV, and you got your own yard and a car that works, and I say you're doing all right.
Yeah, look at each page is $10,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it cost. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
All right, so someone hears this book, they read the book, they love it, and now they want to make it a movie. Who's gonna play Tony?
Oh, there's. I mean, it would have to be Sean Connery. I mean, that would just let's go right there to Sean Connery. Tom Cruise is too short. Sean Connery or it'd be one of the James Bond guys. Would have to be only because that's my take. I think
That's
Sean
great.
Connery. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, so now we have a little bit of a lightning round. So what I want to do is just kind of fire these questions at you. I want you to just answer them, and then we'll run back through them, and you can explain a little further.
Okay.
All right, so like normal, Sam's going to start the timer, and we're going to go. Is double dipping at a party ever acceptable?
No.
Is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
Yes.
Favorite number?
14.
Best midnight snack?
Oh, it's pizza.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Would you rather speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
Talk to animals.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite Pittsburgh Steeler of all time?
Oh, it's got to be Jack Lambert.
All right. What the hell is wrong with you?
Gee, sorry.
All right.
But that's a tough question. That's really tough. That's really tough.
That's
lots of greats.
Yes. It's tough.
Yeah. So double dipping at a party, never acceptable.
How does anybody ever think that? I just don't even understand that. I mean,
Well, when you work in an operating room too, I mean, then you're more sensitive to it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. And I seen the Seinfeld. There's a Seinfeld episode with that.
There's a Seinfeld episode about everything.
Yeah, right.
It's wrong for vegetarian to eat animal crackers. I like it.
Well, I mean, you got to be true. Either if it's an animal, it's an animal. It's got eyes. You're not going to eat it.
I like it.
Good
Favorite
question.
number
I like
14.
Yeah, I don't even know where I got that from. It kind of just happened. I mean,
I figured it was going to be someone's jersey number on the Steelers.
Well, that's back to the Jack Lambert, but I don't want to give away too many of my passwords.
That's great.
Well, I mean, really, the locks on the carts in the pump room are two Steelers numbers.
Okay.
My passwords are always stuff like that with sports and then pizza, best midnight snack.
Yeah, you really can't. My wife said to me one day, she said, "What do you want for dinner?" And I said, "Well, pizza." She said, "Well, we had it last night." And I was like, "Well, yeah, what's the point?" I mean, it works every time, and it does. That's kind of where it goes.
Yeah, I don't think you get tired of pizza. I really don't
hard.
think so.
It's hard. Yeah.
And then beach or mountains, you like the beach.
Beach. This is just me. I've always said, every job is tough no matter where you work. And this job been tough over the years here in so many different ways. but I knew going into that it was going to be tough, and so I had an agreement with my wife and myself that if I ever got in a rough jam, I would go to the beach because it's so close here in Charleston, and if that didn't take it away, I knew it was time to leave. And really, you pull up to the beach, and before you get out of the car, you already forgot why you're there. And that's worked for me every time that I've been here. Mountains are great. Don't get me wrong. I love the mountains. I really do.
Yeah.
But the beach, that again, I'm into magnetism and all that stuff. Not in a freaky way, but I mean, just that I believe there's something that's going on there when you're standing there. I really do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I've been vacations in both, but you do go to the beach, and it's just your
Something
cares
it pulls
kinda
it out of
just
you.
disappear.
Yeah, it pulls it out.
And yeah, so you rather be able to talk to animals.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was really asking if you'd ask me like that, or did I want to fly? I mean, I want to fly. I mean, that's really, yeah. I mean that, but talking to the dogs, the cats, they would, even if you could talk to a cat, they wouldn't talk to you.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd be like, get away from me. If you're not feeding me or petting me, I don't want anything to do with you. The dog is like, great, man. I mean, you imagine talking to a Labrador or even, forget it. It'd be awesome. I mean, you'd have so much fun, It'd be like, hey, you want to jump in the water? Sure. We want to tear this box apart? Sure. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sounds like you can already speak to them a little bit.
Try. My one Labrador I could talk to. Yeah, I could. Yeah.
So you kind of already answered, I think, a little bit, but you pick dogs over cats. Is it just they're more friendly and?
Yeah, a cat. I mean, come on, cats. I mean, I don't. I don't know. We have a cat. We've had cats. They've always been a stray or something that somehow ended up in our house. Like I said, I have a cat now. His name is George, and
That's great.
we live in his house basically. I mean, that's really kind of the other thing.
Yeah.
He's only a friend when he needs food. That's about it.
Yeah, a little bit of a snob, huh?
Yeah.
All right, and I bet a lot of people would agree. Jack Lambert, favorite Steeler of all time.
Yeah, just kind of what he represents. I mean, the whole Steeler team from the '70s, but I'm not talking about even the recent teams. I mean, I would add James Harrison is another guy that's amazing if you look at his story and what he went through, and then really having one of, if not still the greatest play in the Super Bowls of all time was 100-yard run back interception. That was just amazing, and I got to see that in person, so I'll never forget that. That's a life memory. Yeah,
that's pretty lucky to go to that game.
It happened right in front of me. I mean, right in front of me. I was in row S. It was right in front of me. It was awesome. Yeah, so I recommend go to the Super Bowl.
Maybe if the Dolphins ever get in, we'll go.
You might need a time machine. Yeah, you might need a time machine.
Yeah.
Maybe the pandemic will shake things up a little bit and things will get flipped and Brady leaving the Patriots. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, hopefully we get lucky.
Yeah.
Well, all right, though. That's all we had for, written down, prepared questions. Is there anything you would like to share more about yourself, or, do you have any questions you'd like to answer about yourself, or just comments?
Well, I mean, I'm definitely a philosophical person in a lot of ways, but I just kind of look at it as, stay focused on the positive. I've been recently working on some things at work here. And I really, when I was talking about energy and, every event that happens is just an event or a thing. Mm-hmm. You can choose to turn it positive or negative. And we've had some couple things that have happened at work here even recently. And I've been asking the staff to look at it using a little bit of jujitsu, figuratively speaking, to take that energy and make it positive. Mm-hmm. Even this whole COVID thing there's positive things that are coming out of it, that will come out of it. We may not see it right now, but there's going to be things. Look at this interaction that's going on right now with web interactions. Mm-hmm. That used to not be something that was popular, and it was a struggle to get people to want to do it. And now we're slowly, just all the time, sure, let's do it. And so I think that that's really, I've always looked at the positives, even when things were really bad for me, and different things that happened over time. I knew that somehow there's a plan, and you're going to use those skills. The skills that you develop out of that you'll use them later.
Yeah,
I really believe that. I really believe that.
that's great.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, thank you for sharing that with us because, again, yeah, I think we could all use some positive thinking during what's going on right now and a lot of negativity.
It's
out
easy
there.
to get down, and
Yep, it is.
we need to
It's tough right now. I mean,
right,
I
we need to
even my
fight that
staff.
urge.
Yeah, I mean, my staff was worried. You know, we had pay reductions, and people had said, well, maybe they don't value us. And I said, well, here's the thing. And I know some people didn't have this luxury. I said they didn't furlough anybody. I
Right.
said, so that means we were valued. I said that was it. I said they just didn't have the money to give us what we needed. That's
Right.
been restored, and so, but I really, you really have to look at those things positively, and it is it's there. I mean,
Wonderful.
Well, great. Well, all right. What do I
You
say
want to
then?
wrap things up, Todd?
Yeah. What do I say?
We want to say thank you, Tony, Dr.
oh,
Tony,
thank
for
you.
being with us today. Really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit, figuring out what makes you tick behind the scenes. For those of you out there in the audience, please like, comment, and subscribe. And
Yeah, keep Perfusion rocking, and we'll see you next time.